What's happening, YouTube? This is Robert, and this is video number 9 in my HTML series. In this video, we're going to breeze through character sets, some of the types and differences, and URL encoding. This doesn't actually deal with any coding, so we're not going to be on our editor in this video, but it's just for your information. So let's look at character sets. Browsers obviously use these to structure HTML pages, and the very first one was ASCII, A-S-C-I-I. The very first one for Windows 1252 was ANSI. Then the default for HTML4 is ISO 8859-1, and the default for HTML5 is UTF-8. So what's all this really mean? What does this have to do with anything? Well, the short answer is that we have different bytes being used for different reasons. If you look at ASCII, the original, we have characters 0 through 31 and 127 as control characters, 32 through 126 as digits and symbols, and 128 and above is not used at all. Now ANSI is the same as ASCII, except for 128 through 159 are used as proprietary values, and then 160 through 255 are used for special characters. ISO 8859-1, which as you'll remember is the default for HTML4, identical to ANSI, except for they don't use these proprietary values. If a browser sees ISO 8859-1, typically it'll default to ANSI. And finally, UTF-8 is identical to ANSI, except for those proprietary values are not used at all, so those characters are not used in UTF-8, but 256 and above use more than 10,000 characters to cover every worldwide character that you could possibly think of. I think there are some rare ones out there not used, but pretty much any character that you can think of in any language, including special characters like emojis, are used in UTF-8. And one of the big differences is ASCII, ANSI, and ISO all use 1 byte versus UTF uses a variable 1 to 4 bytes depending on what character it's attempting to build, and that's something you can look up more details of online. So finally, let's discuss URL. This is a uniform resource locator. Browsers request web pages from servers using this, and it can be either words or it can be an IP address or an internet protocol address. So in words you would say google.com or mywebsite.com versus using the IP address that it can also accept, which is much more difficult to remember. So most of us use mywebsite.com or word related URLs. The syntax of a URL is simple. We have our scheme HTTP or HTTPS, and then you have your prefix, which is almost always www, the domain, which is google.com or mywebsite.com, and the default port is going to be 80, but you can change different ports if you're a developer or someone else trying to access that website and that specific area for a reason, and you have the authorization to do so and the port is open. And then we can either leave off the path and file name, and that'll take us to our root path, or we can include the path that we want to go to or the directory that we want to go to, and then we can choose the file from that directory. URLs only use ASCII character sets and allow no spaces, so that's the original character set that allows only specific characters usually that are found on your keyboard only, and other characters are converted into entity and symbol names. That covers the basics of URLs and character sets. Very simple, very straightforward. If you guys have any questions, leave a comment below, and I will see you in the next video.